Hey everyone, True here, and the first burn stealth unit ever is coming soon, and it is Apollo and Artemis. How does it even work to combine these two? We will see it in the skill set. Their HP and attack stats are pretty average, but the speed is quite high at 436. The first active skill is attack and stealth, attacking 2 enemies, producing 2 spirits, and taking 130 time units, so that is a bit on the longer side, but might not actually be used all that often anyways. Next we see Artemis and her Moonlight arrow, and this is basically a stealth drain attack, but it has another nice benefit, and that is it grants Artemis and Apollo the endure effect. So that is basically a one-time hold ground. It only costs 1 spirit and 100 time units, and so that is quite decent for what it can do. The only requirement being that she has the stealth status effect when she gets the turn. And as always, this attack, because it is kind of like a stealth attack, it ignores any enemy status effects, damage reduction effects, revenge passive skills, and skin passive skills. So you already know what that means. Good value attack, and it should be pretty easy for her to have the stealth status effect. We will see in the passive skills why that is. Next, it is Apollo's turn with the Sunlight arrow this time. And this is an attack that can only be used if there's at least 4 units burning on the battlefield. So it is basically kind of a burn drive attack. It also has the, increased damage output if there are even more units burning. So if there are 6 or more burning, then the damage is 600%. If it's just 4 or more, then it is 500%. Compared to the previous skill, the Moonlight arrow, which was only 400%. But, there's a lot more conditions that need to be fulfilled. And the Moonlight arrow had a nice feature in, enabling the endure. And the Sunlight arrow also has a very nice feature, which is enabling a stun ward. So basically, for the next stun that hits this unit, she will not actually be stunned, but instead just get the stun ward removed. And this is very relevant in today's meta. And then we have the fourth skill, and that is Holy Eclipse. A very, very, very good skill, and it can be used twice. So not just once, but twice, maybe, alluding to the fact that we actually see these 2 units on the battlefield, which is kind of a first in Evertale. So what does Holy Eclipse do? It produces 3 spirit. It only costs 50 time units. Apollo and Artemis will be enraged, and they will also gain the stealth status effect. And also it enables endure. So yeah, basically just a very, very strong setup, getting a bit more invincible, producing some spirit, and then possibly in the next turn being able to do a very strong stealth attack in the Moonlight arrow, especially because if they are enraged, which they are from the Holy Eclipse, then that attack actually produces 600% damage, ignoring armor and everything. So very, very good. And obviously, if there's even, the option to do a burn drive, or rather the Sunlight arrow, then that is up to 900% damage from the enraged status. Now, on the passive skill side, that is seemingly just getting more and more complex with every new unit. We see 2 new passive skills, basically. I mean, one of them is very, very new and unique, but the other one is, kind of a combination of previously seen passive skills. So we have Flame of Apollo first, and this is where, the whole thing with combining burn and stealth comes in, because as you might know, having the burn status and the stealth status at the same time was previously impossible, because, you can only have one of these status effects at the same time. This unit changes that in the sense that she always, or rather they always, have the burn status effect. It's just a given. No matter if they have stealth or not, they have the burn status effect, and it counts for having the burn status effect, for example, for these kind of burn drive skills, or, you know, if you are looking at the intense burn from Fire Astrid, I think, and Fire Ray. So they are basically burning all the time. There's nothing that is stopping them from burning, but other status effects can be applied on top of them. And also, when they are attacked, they don't spread the burn. So if they are attacked by a normal attack from an enemy, they are not going to spread burn to that enemy, but instead, whenever they attack someone, that will actually apply the burn status effect, which is a nice way to possibly, for example, clean up some hold ground units. And then as a second point, we kind of have the Shroud of Artemis, which is kind of a combination of divine healing and something like the regeneration shroud we saw in Dark Snow White. So whenever this unit takes damage from an attack and survives, they will actually heal for 20% of max HP, and also on top of that gain the stealth status effect, but only if they are not poisoned or sleeping. So very neat passives, but as we all know, very decisive, especially for arena play and war, etc., is the actual AI handling of the unit. So let's take a look at that next. First, let's look at Apollo's and Artemis's hate, and that is probably towards the higher end, I would say. I mean, it depends in which team you are actually running Artemis and Apollo. As we said before, it is kind of a burn and stealth unit. One of her skills, man, this switching between singular and plural is really tough on this unit. But yeah, as we said before, they have kind of a burn skill set partially, and they need some burning units in battle to actually use the Sunlight Arrow, which is a really good attack and activates the stun ward. But if you actually run them with a burn team, then their hate is getting really, really high. It has multipliers for the number of burning units in the battle, and as we said before, Artemis and Apollo will always count as one burning unit. So that is already some hate from that, 1.25, and then possibly even 10% more on top of that. And on the other side as well, we have the stealth status increasing their hate. And as we saw in the passives, it is quite likely that they have the stealth status effect, even, you know, after they get attacked, which usually removes the stealth status effect. They will actually possibly regain the stealth status effect if they are not sleeping or poisoned. So I have a feeling that the 1.2 hate will be pretty steady throughout their game, and that is also, you know, if they don't have the endure active, then this is very dangerous. When they get hit and heal for 20% from the endure is gone, and they have 20% HP and possibly the stealth status, and still pretty above average hate in the 1.2 multiplier. But enough of that. Let's look at the skills, and yeah, I mean, there's no big surprises here. The attack and stealth has a basic multiplier of 0.8. We see Moonlight and Sunlight Arrow apparently on pretty similar levels as for, you know, their picking weight, but of course the other modifiers, the Moonlight Arrow will be more likely used if, you know, the enemy has skin passive effects or possibly some nasty revenge. And of course, the Sunlight Arrow has some very specific functions to activate and will more likely be used if we have an active stun unit on the enemy team. And then there's also the Holy Eclipse, which actually doesn't have that high of a weight. It has 2.0. But yeah, as you all know, the skill weight numbers are always a bit wonky, and we will have to see what it looks like on the battlefield, which you will see on my channel as soon as possible, as usual. Now, what are my first thoughts and estimations on this new unit, or rather these two, Apollo and Artemis. I'm a bit conflicted at first, I have to say. I mean, I am possibly quite cautious about recommending any burn units because burn has always been struggling in the AI environment. I like that they actually are trying to change that with this kind of unremovable burn status that is always active. But is it going to be enough? I mean, they can't really spread the burn, so they really need some burn support if they want to get that sunlight arrow and the kind of burn drive environment going. But on the other hand, if you have that kind of burn drive environment going, then their hate will be quite high, and I think they will be highly targeted, and the endure might not quite be enough to keep them surviving. And then we have another problem, which is basically this kind of 2 times enrage, which is a done and dusted thing afterwards. And then, you know, the kind of moonlight arrow, the stealth attack, which is quite strong, obviously, but still it's just 400% damage, so it might not be enough to finish off a lot of these enemy units. Now, some more positives about them are that they actually have a lot of ways to heal. So, I mean, we obviously have the passive, which already gives them the possibility to heal 20% after every damage that they take, as long as they have been surviving. And then if they actually get the turn, both of their arrow skills actually heal them. So the Moonlight arrow heals for 50% of max HP. And I think I forgot to mention that earlier when I talked about the active skill Sunlight arrow. That one is actually healing for 100% of max HP. So a full heal with that skill. And then we have multiple ways to activate the endure status effect through the Moonlight arrow and through the Holy Eclipse. So a lot of things going in their favor for their survival, and at first, you know, quite strong to actually push out some damage in the enraged status. I think they are definitely in the top 4 of burn units in the entire game right now. But unfortunately, that isn't saying that much because there's no burn unit currently in my top 10 SSR world rankings. Then again, with their attacks, where they can actually spread some burn, or rather burn the enemy unit after it takes damage, they can also possibly take out some hold ground units. So that's definitely a plus. And they do have a stealth skill in their skill set, and stealth skills are always a great addition to most teams. I mean, we have actually seen in the past year, obviously, the stealth meta. Let's see where this goes from there. I mean, they do have the stun ward as well against this kind of stun meta that is getting more and more relevant. But yeah, I'm just not entirely sure how well or easily adapted these two will be. For now, I think they will have S tier potential, but stay tuned for the actual performance on the battlefield. Next, we will take a look at their pretty short backstory and their 3 art forms. Apollo and Artemis, the sun and the moon, the fierce goddess of the arts and the pure goddess of the hunt. Different as they are from the primordials, they are revered and feared throughout Erden. The twins couldn't be more different in disposition, one capricious, short-tempered and hard to please, the other virtuous and gentle, valuing harmony above all else. However, at their core lies what they share, their unfathomable love for each other and the wish for peace they have for the people of Erden. My, don't you look grumpy today, Apollo? What happened? It's nothing. Did you go see those humans again? Yes, there was a conflict brewing in the mountains to the north, so I went to watch over the people there. Did you miss me by any chance? Of course not. You could have let me know, though, is all. So yeah, quite the eloquent backstory for Artemis and Apollo. Thanks as always to Lens.js, Saturn and Nizetto for the materials used in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a true carrot. And as always, thanks for watching.